The knife slipped into my side like it was coming home, cold and familiar. Wielded by the brother I'd bled for since we were kids, scraping dirt under Dad's thumb. "This is for the family. Athena," he whispered. His eyes, those same hazel eyes that used to beg me for scraps of my college dreams, glinting with something feral. Something I'd never seen in the boy who shared my blood. I gasped, the world tilting as pain bloomed hot and final. But it wasn't the blade that killed me, it was the truth it carved out. Betrayal from the one person I'd trusted to hold the line while I built something bigger than our crumbling farm. Darkness swallowed me whole. No white light. No regrets flashing like a bad movie reel. Just the acrid taste of regret and the echo of Mom's voice calling me her disappointment daughter, one last time as I signed away the last of our land to save the startup that was supposed to redeem us all. I died alone in that Chicago warehouse. The city lights mocking me through the grimy windows. My empire reduced to a single USB drive clutched in my fist. Stolen ideas bleeding out with my last breath. But death, it turns out, is a lousy editor. I woke up choking on the stale air of my old apartment in Ames, Iowa. The kind of place where the walls sweat regret and the fridge hums like a guilty conscience. My hands, younger, unscarred, flailed to my side, expecting the sticky warmth of blood, but there was nothing. Just the faded tattoo of a corn stalk on my wrist. Inked during freshman year at Iowa State when I still believed tech could till the soil better than calluses. The date on my phone screamed 2022. 3 years back. Before the boardroom coups. Before the patents vanished like smoke. Before Ethan, my little brother, my shadow, slit me open to save the family legacy. I'd been given a do-over. And this time, I'd make them all pay. I bolted upright, heart hammering like a John Deere engine redlining. The mirror across the room showed a ghost, 25-year-old Athena Hayes. Wild brown curls tied back in a no bullshit ponytail. Green eyes sharp as fresh-plowed earth. Still carrying that farm girl tan despite the fluorescent pallor of academia. I clawed my way through soil science classes, dodging Dad's lectures about real work and Mom's sighs over my fancy ideas. Agtech wasn't a hobby. It was my rebellion against the Hayes farm, that 200-acre patch of Iowa black dirt that had chewed up my grandparents and was gunning for us next. Droughts, tariffs, corporate buyouts, our corn yields were tanking, and Dad's stubborn refusal to innovate was the noose tightening around our necks. In my first life or death, whatever you call it, I poured everything into AgriForge, a startup blending AI drones with precision irrigation to squeeze every drop from dying aquifers. Investors loved the pitch. Sustainable farming for the heartland, saving family operations like ours from the Cargill overlords. I'd bootstrapped it with student loans and late-night code. Landing seed money from a Des Moines VC who called me the future of feed. Ethan, fresh out of high school and helping on the farm, became my hype man. He'd crash my Zoom calls, charming the suits with his aw shucks grin, whispering in my ear about how we'd flipped the script on Mom and Dad. "You're the golden child, sis. I'll hold down the fort here." Lies. All of it. In that warehouse, as the life leaked out, he'd confessed, sort of. Pushed by Dad. He'd said, to protect the land. But I knew better now. Dad's gambling debts, hidden in shoeboxes under the porch, had nearly foreclosed us twice. Mom's pills, washed down with sweet tea, kept her numb to it all. And Ethan? He'd been the knife. But they were the hand. My family, the ones who'd branded me disappointment for chasing code over combines, had sold me out for a quick payout from a rival agribusiness, BioYield, the soulless giant sniffing around our patents like a coyote on carrion. I laughed, a jagged sound that scared the neighbor's cat yowling outside. This time, no bleeding heart. I'd play their game, but I'd rewrite the rules. First step, fortify the farm. No more sharing prototypes with family testing. I'd code in the dead of night, encrypt everything, and charm the VCs solo. Ethan would get his scraps, enough to keep him close, sniffing for weakness, but I'd dangle the bait, whispers of a family legacy, upgrade that would tie him in knots. The next morning, I drove the old Ford pickup back to Hayes' farm under a sky bruised with storm clouds, the kind that promise rain but deliver dust. Dad was out in the North 40, wrestling a bulky irrigation pivot that leaked like his excuses. Mom rocked on the porch swing. Her floral muumuu faded as her smile, a half-empty tumbler sweating in her hand. "Athena bird," she cooed, like I was still the gap-toothed kid chasing fireflies. "Heard you bombed that pitch in Chicago. Come home for good." I swallowed the bile in my first go. That bomb was Ethan's sabotage, a doctored demo that made the drones glitch live. Not yet.
Mom.
Got a new angle. Something big. I hugged her loose, inhaling the lavender soap masking the bourbon. Ethan lounged against the barn, overalls slung low, scrolling his phone with that cocky tilt to his jaw.
22 now.
All farm boy muscle and city boy ambition. The golden son who'd stayed while I fled. "Sis." He bounded over, clapping my shoulder too hard, like he was already practicing the kill shot. "Heard about the flop. Rough break. But hey, farm life's calling. Dad says we could use you on the books, keep the wolves at bay." Wolves.
Cute.
BioYield CEO, Harlan Voss, was the real predator, a slick Silicon Valley transplant who'd rescued half the Midwest farms by buying them out cheap. In my deathbed haze, I'd pieced it. Voss had funneled cash to Dad through back channels, promising Ethan a corner office if he delivered AgriForge's IP. They'd framed it as an accident, me, despondent over failure, taking my own life in that warehouse. Clean. No cops sniffing around patents. "I need your help testing a beta," I said, forcing a grin that felt like barbed wire. "Drones with facial rec for crop thieves. Imagine AI spotting poachers before they hit the silos." His eyes lit up, greedy as a combine's maw. Hook set. That night, in the attic room that still smelled of mothballs and old Harvest King almanacs, I fired at my laptop. Lines of code blurred through tears I didn't shed. AgriForge 2.0, fortified, vicious. I'd embed trackers in every file, backdoors that would ping my phone if Ethan so much as screenshotted a schematic. And Voss, I'd court him early, leak just enough to make him salivate, then yank the chain when he bit. But revenge isn't a straight furrow, it's a maze of thorns. The first twist came a week later, at the Iowa AG Expo in Des Moines. I'd rented a booth on fumes, demoing a stripped-down version of the drone swarm, sleek black birds that mapped soil moisture in real time, predicting yields down to the bushel. Crowds milled like cattle, grizzled farmers in Carhartt, venture bros in Patagonia vests, all nursing IPAs and grudges against the weather. Ethan showed uninvited, trailing Dad like a loyal hound. "Brought reinforcements," he announced, shoving a cooler of Mom's potato salad at me. Dad grunted approval, his face a roadmap of sun and suspicion, eyes flicking to my demo like it was a rival harvester. "Fancy toys. Girl. But will it pay the note come December?" Before I could snap back, Harlan Voss sauntered in, all bespoke suit and shark smile, flanked by two suits who screamed NDA. 50-something, with a tan that screamed Hamptons and a voice like oiled gravel. Athena Hayes, the prodigy from Ames. I've been following your work, brilliant stuff on aquifer modeling. His handshake was firm, probing, like he was already measuring me for a coffin. In my first life, this was the meet cute that sealed my doom. He'd wined and dined me, dangled acquisition talks, then ghosted when Ethan fed him the goods.
Now,
I played coy, dropping hints of a proprietary neural net that could outsmart climate models. Voss's eyes narrowed, calculating. We should talk. Bio yields always scouting talent that thinks like family. Family. The word soured like spoiled silage. Appreciate it, Mr.
Voss.
But I'm building for the little guys, the farms that won't bend. I caught Ethan's glance, a flicker of unease.
Good.
Let him sweat. As the expo wound down, rain finally broke, turning the fairgrounds to mud. Dad cornered me by the truck, breath rank with chewing tobacco. Your brother's got ideas? Athena. Real ones. Staying put, working the land. You, chasing shadows in the city. Don't drag him down with your experiments. I bit my tongue bloody. In this life, I drag them all into the light. Experiments pay.
Dad.
Wait and see. Driving back, Ethan rode shotgun, probing like a bad dentist. Voss seemed solid. You thinking partnership. Thinking bigger. I lied. Fingers white on the wheel. The storm raged, lightning cracking the sky like God's own warning. But I was done heeding warnings. This was my field now,
And I'd so salt if I had to.
months blurred into a grind of code and caffeine, the kind that turns your veins to battery acid. By spring 2023, AgriForge had clawed a foothold, beta tests on 3 neighbor farms. Yields up 15% despite the freak frosts. VCs circled like vultures. Silicon Prairie Fund dropped $500,000 after a pitch where I projected holographic soil maps onto the conference room wall, making grown men in flannel gasp like kids at a fireworks show. This isn't just tech, I told them, voice steady as a laser level. It's survival for the heartland. Behind the scenes, the noose tightened. Ethan had wormed his way in as operations lead, handling field logistics that let him eyeball my servers. I'd caught him once, midnight in the barn, thumb drive glowing in the laptop light. Just backing up, he'd stammered. But the tracker I'd slipped into the OS pinged a mirror site, files exfiltrating to an offshore server. Bio yields digital fingerprints all over it. I let it slide, feeding him decoys, buggy code laced with malware that would fry their systems if they tried to reverse engineer. But family? That's the real poison ivy. Mom's health tanked another episode as she called her benders, landing her in Mercy Hospital with kidneys protesting the abuse. Dad blamed me. Of course. If you'd stuck to the farm, we'd have insurance worth a damn. Sitting in that sterile waiting room, vinyl chairs squeaking under our collective guilt, he laid it bare, the debts. $200,000 to a bookie in Omaha, racked up on bad bets during the 21 commodity crash. Ethan's talking to folks. Good folks. Could clear it all.
Voss.
I knew it without asking. Ethan's phone buzzed incessantly. Texts from a burner app. Coordinates for meetings in empty lots off I-35. I hacked in one night. Heart pounding as code unspooled. Boss promising Ethan a 10% cut of any acquisition, plus a relocation package to their HQ in St. Louis. Keep her off balance, the message read. The sister's the wild card. Wild card. I liked that. In poker, it's the ace up your sleeve, or the joker that burns the table. My controversial call came at dawn. After a sleepless stakeout in the pickup, watching Ethan slip into a diner with Voss's lackey. Rage boiled. But cold math won. Expose them now, and I'd lose the farm leverage. No, I'd use Mom's crisis. Hit them where it hurt, the legacy. I drove straight to the hospital, bursting into Mom's room with a USB of forged docs, faked emails painting Ethan as the mastermind, Voss as the puppet. Mom, read this. Your boy's selling us out. Her eyes, milky with meds, widened. Lies. Athena girl. Ethan's our rock. Rock. He's the wrecking ball. I played the recordings I'd bugged. Ethan's voice. Tinny but damning. Athena's drones?
Goldmine. Fidgeting to voice.
We eat for life. She crumpled, tears carving tracks in her makeup. Why? Because disappointment daughters don't get dirt bike tracks named after them. Because boys like Ethan inherit the John Deere, not the dreams. I left her sobbing, planting the seed. Divide and conquer, classic Midwest warfare. Summer scorched the fields, corn tassels wilting like bad intentions. Agri-Forge boomed, partnerships with co-ops in Nebraska, a feature in Fast Company calling me the corn queen of code. But the shadows lengthened. Voss upped the ante, inviting me to a summit at his Chicago penthouse, overlooking the Loop. All glass and ego. Join us. Athena, he purred over steak tartare. City lights winking below like conspirators. Bio-yield can scale you globally. Your family's farm? We'd preserve it as a showcase. Preserve. Like taxidermy. Ethan tagged along, uninvited, nursing a scotch and nodding like a bobblehead. I saw the tells, sweat beading on his brow, foot jiggling under the table. He was fraying, Mom's cold shoulder hitting harder than any pitch rejection. What about the debts? I pressed Voss, feigning naivety. Family operations like ours. We need protection. His smile was a scalpel. Protection comes at a price. Share your IP, and we handle the rest. There it was, the hook, barbed and baited. I countered with a demo, a live drone feed from Hayes Farm, AI overlay predicting a 20% yield bump. But it's locked. Non-disclosure only. Voss leaned in, breath minty with malice. Smart girl. But loyalty? That's the real yield. That night, back in my hotel, Ethan cornered me in the lobby bar. 3 whiskeys deep. You're screwing us.
Sis.
Voss is our ticket out. Dad's losing the farm. Foreclosure papers came today. Liar. I'd paid the back taxes anonymously, routing funds through a shell LLC. But his desperation was delicious. Us? You mean you? Selling my blood for a bonus. I slapped the table, drawing stares from the suits. I know everything.
Ethan.
The burner. The meats. The knife you were sharpening for my back. He blanched, hazel eyes going feral again. You don't get it. It's for Mom. For Dad. You're the one who left, chasing your Silicon Valley fairy tale. We stayed. Bled for this dirt. Bled. I laughed. Low and lethal. You stole. And this time, I'm taking it back. Security escorted him out. But not before he snarled. You'll regret this. Athena. Family first. Family first. The phrase haunted me on the red-eye home. Turbulence mirroring the storm in my gut. My next move was the gut punch, a leaked story to the Des Moines Register. Anonymous source, me, tipping off a reporter to corruption in agribusiness, with Voss's name in neon. No direct ties. Just enough smoke. Whispers of predatory buyouts. Farms saved into servitude. It hit the stands like a hailstorm. Stock dipping 5% overnight. Voss called. Voice velvet over venom. Cute play?
Haze.
But games have losers. I hung up smiling. Losers like you. Fall harvest brought the first blood, not mine. Mom confronted Dad in the kitchen. Voice shattering the usual silence. You let our boy sell her out? For what? Cards and lies. Plates flew. Accusations ricocheting like buckshot. Ethan vanished for days. Holing up in a motel. Radio silent. I swooped in, rescuing him with a job offer. Full-time at AgriForge. But under my thumb. Prove your family, I said, handing him a non-disclosure thicker than a phone book. He signed. Eyes hollow. The golden boy tarnished. But Voss wasn't done. November winds howled as his lawyers sent the cease and desist. Claims of IP infringement on AgriForge's core algo, code they'd stolen from my first life. Irony tasted like rust. I lawyered up, countersuing with evidence from the trackers, logs of Ethan's uploads, timestamps matching their server hits. The press ate it up, sibling sabotage. Iowa startup versus AG giant. Crescendo built like a supercell. Dad showed at my Ames office unannounced. Face thunderous under his seed cap. You're destroying us.
Girl.
Ethan's talking suicide, says it's all your fault. Guilt stabbed. But I shoved it down. He chose.
Dad.
Like you did. Betting the farm while I built the future. He lunged. Fist raised not to hit, but close enough to spray spittle. Disappointment. Always were. The door clicked shut behind him, leaving echoes. That night, alone with the monitors glowing like accusatory eyes, doubt crept in. Was this revenge or ruin? The twist I'd buried, the secret gnawing since rebirth, surfaced in a forgotten email chain, unearthed from Dad's old desktop I'd mirrored. Not Voss the mastermind.
Mom.
Her pill-fueled rants. Transcribed. End it. Richard. Athena's poison, taking Ethan. The farm. Make it look like she jumped. Voss was the tool. Family. The architect. My hands shook as code compiled. The real betrayal ran deeper than blood. Time to harvest the truth. Winter clamped down like a vice. Snow burying the fields in white lies. Mirroring the frost in our home. AgriForge's holiday party was a farce. String lights twinkling over charcuterie boards. Employees toasting disruption while I nursed a ginger ale. Eyes scanning for knives. Ethan arrived late, gaunt in an ill-fitting blazer. Mom on his arm like a spectral chaperone. She'd rallied post-hospital, but her gaze on me was ice, accusation wrapped in maternal pity. Proud of you, dear, she murmured, lips not moving. Even if it's killing us. Killing us. The words echoed my warehouse death. But this time, I held the scalpel. Over eggnog. I pulled her aside, whispering the email printouts into her palm. Read it.
Mom.
Your words. Your plan. Her face drained. A ghost in pearls. Fabrications. You're twisting. Twisting? Like you twisted Dad's arm? Ethan's complicity. I kept my voice low. A blade in velvet. I died for this family once. Won't again. She staggered back, clutching her throat. But Ethan caught her instinct, or cover. His eyes met mine. Not feral now, but fractured. What have you done? What I'd done was build an empire on their graves. By New Year's, lawsuit snowballed. BioYield countersued for defamation. But my evidence, digital breadcrumbs leading straight to Ethan's laptop, turned the tide. Voss folded first. A hurried settlement, $2 million to drop claims, plus a non-compete that neutered their Midwest ops for 2 years. The Register ran it front page. Agtech underdog crushes Goliath, with family feud as backdrop. But the real war was domestic, festering like untreated blight. Dad holed up in the barn, whiskey his only crop, emerging only to bellow at shadows. You're no haze, he'd roar over the fence during my drone calibrations. Ethan spiraled, binge texts at 3 a.m., apologies laced with pleas. I didn't know about Mom. Dad pushed, said it was mercy.
Mercy.
The word curdled. In my first life, mercy was the coroner's report, self-inflicted, to bury the theft. My controversial pivot came in February, frostbite nipping at resolve. The VCs demanded scale, acquisition bait. I could sell to a clean player, pocket millions, wash my hands of the mud.
Or
burn it down. I chose fire. At the next board meeting, virtual from my attic, I greenlit a legacy initiative, AgriForge's AI open-sourced for small farms. Freeware with a catch, embedded audit trails that flagged predatory contracts from giants like BioYield. Revenge with ROI. I pitched, ignoring the gasps. It was borderline illegal, antitrust gray zone, but damn if it didn't spike user signups 300%. Voss retaliated viciously. Smear campaign. Anonymous posts on AG forums calling me the farm wrecker, doctored photos of Hayes acres gone fallow, photoshopped. But who checks? Death threats pinged my inbox, forcing a security detail that ate margins. Worse, Ethan's breakdown. He crashed my office at midnight, reeking of Jim Beam, collapsing in sobs. Mom confessed. To Dad. It was her, all of it. The death started with her shopping sprees. Pills. She hated you succeeding, said it made her nothing. The twist hit like a torque wrench to the gut. Not Dad's vice. Not Ethan's greed, Mom's abyss. She'd orchestrated the sabotage, whispering poisons to both men, positioning me as the villain to mask her voids. In my death throes, Ethan's knife had been her script. Make it quick. For the insurance. Family wasn't the hand, it was the puppeteer. I held him as he retched apologies. The boy I'd bandaged after bull riding wrecks. Why? I whispered, not expecting truth. Fear, he choked. You were free. We were trapped. Dawn broke gray as we drove to the farm. Truce fragile as thin ice. Mom waited on the porch. Shotgun across her lap, not loaded, but symbolic. Come to gloat, she sneered. But her hands trembled.
no.
To end it, I laid out the full ledger, her emails, bank trails from her charity, accounts to Voss's PACs, kickbacks disguised as donations. You sold me for a high. But here's the mercy, rehab, or jail. Your call. Dad emerged, hollow-eyed. Enough, Athena. We signed the farm over, you win. But winning tasted like ash. The final act unfolded in April, under tentative sun. AgriForge's boardroom buzzed with suits from Vern Capital, a Bay Area firm hungry for heartland cred. 8.5 mil, their lead offered, eyes gleaming over the term sheet. Cash up front. You stay on as CSO. The room erupted, high fives. Champagne pops, but I saw ghosts in the corners. Ethan's bowed head via Zoom. Mom's absence, checked into Betty Ford that week. Dad's farm now leased back under fair terms. I signed, the pen heavy as judgment. $8.5 million, not just for me, but restitution. Trust funds for the neighbors Voss had crushed. Scholarships for AG kids like young Athena. The press devoured it. From disappointment to dynasty, Hayes' heiress's billion-dollar betrayal payoff. Crescendo peaked that night. Bonfire on the back 40, tires on old patents. Voss's settlement check fueling the flames. Ethan stood beside me. Sober 6 weeks. Voice steady. I'm sorry. For the knife I didn't throw, but should have stopped. Forgiven, I said. Not wholly lying. Family's a crop, you reap what you sow. Weeds and all. Twist's end. Mom's letter arrived weeks later. Postmarked from rehab. You were right.
Bird.
I was the disappointment, chasing your light to eclipse it. She stayed clean. Visited Sundays. Her hugs, tentative bridges. As for me, Athena Hayes, CSO of a green giant, piloting drones over amber waves. No more ghosts in the warehouse, just code compiling futures. They called me disappointment once.
Now?
Legend. But legends know, revenge isn't the harvest, it's the seed you plant so no one starves again.